Carnival Band. You are terrific. I will never do a march again without Carnival Band at the front of it. Happy May Day, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joey Hartman. I'm the president of the Vancouver District Labour Council, and I will be your MC for a very brief rally. I was reminded as we were walking here, I saw a 10-year-old friend of mine whose mother happens to be in Havana today. And the first May Day I went to in Havana, Fidel Castro spoke for only 3 hours. We're not planning on doing that here today. So I just wanted to let you know that this is the 119th celebration of May Day. It began on May 1st, 1890, in recognition of the Haymarket Martyrs, who were a group of anarchists who were executed in Chicago, allegedly for having inspired a bomber who had thrown a bomb into a rally for the 8-hour day movement. And even though most of those people had nothing to do with even organizing the event, they were still found guilty of conspiracy and executed for having done that. So every year, workers around the world hold events like this to both demonstrate and to celebrate. So again, thank you very much to Carnival Band for leading us here. And we also have a short group of speakers for you this afternoon. The three speakers we have are first, I'll introduce them as they come, and then we're going to finish up with the wonderful solidarity notes with the Internationale, and we have 100 copies of the Internationale in 3 languages, so we'll pass those among the crowd just before we get to that point of the program. Of course, before we start, I want to acknowledge that we are on unceded Coast Salish territory, and we thank those people for the privilege of being here on this beautiful land. And of course, the Idle No More movement has really served an important function of bringing to light the absolute imperative of respecting the Aboriginal rights in this country. And that brings me to our first speaker, Lillian Rose Howard. I first heard Lillian at a BC Teachers Federation event, and she had a very powerful impact on me and others who were in that room. She is a Nchanath matriarch who has been at the forefront of virtually every Indigenous battle in the last 40 years in this area. She joined Idle No More in BC, speaking out, and as she says, to find her strength and voice through the joyous of drumming. And when Chief Teresa Spence was fasting last year, Lillian demonstrated her solidarity by also engaging in a fast, taking only fish broth and tea. So with over 40 years of experience on blockades, sit-ins, and other actions over decades, Lillian Howard advises that people must be prepared for the police to break their word and for violence, and that is why we must conduct our protests and acts of civil disobedience. They must be beyond reproach. Please welcome Lillian Howard.
Good afternoon, everyone. Uklashies, Narmies, Histakshil Smowachat, Nuchanasat. My name is Lillian, and happy May Day. And it's wonderful to walk in solidarity with you, new faces and old friends, Jim Sinclair and others. I used to participate in the rallies in the late 70s and the 80s here in Vancouver, in the solidarity marches that were held.
Works to expose the deceit and the extreme conservatism of the Harper government, but also is working very hard to build activism and creativity. Please welcome Brigitte de Pep.
Thank you so much. How is everybody doing? Amazing. Yeah, my name is Brigitte, and I was working as a page in the Parliament of Canada, serving water to Prime Minister Stephen Harper. And let me be honest with you, there were many times where I wanted to accidentally slip and pour water all over his economic action plan propaganda. I felt so powerless. I felt helpless in the face of Harper, going against the will of us, of the majority of people. But today, as I join with you on this beautiful sunny day. I feel so excited and I feel so inspired because of you, because of people who are organizing in their community, because of the labor movement that is coming together with other movements from I Don't Know More, from the environmental movement, coming together to defeat Harper. Woo! I've never done a spoken word poem before in front of this many people, but I recently did one with a friend, Magnolia, who is singing in the choir, and I'd love to share it. Does anyone know what day it is tomorrow? May the 2nd. Yeah, it's also the anniversary of Stephen Harper's election. Exactly. So this is a poem. This is a poem to respond to that. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the election of Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the election of Prime Minister Stephen Harper, even though he was elected with only 39% of the popular vote. And so what is there to celebrate? Not that person who has no food, who goes hungry and now needs to use the food bank because food bank use has doubled since the election of Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Not that woman who lives in Fort McKay, who has no clean water because of the expansion of Stephen Harper's tar sands. Not that woman who lost her child in the Philippines because of the flooding, because of the expansion of Stephen Harper's tar sands. Not the deportation of that woman who is now separated from her child because of Jason Kenney's racist policies. Not Stephen Harper. We will not celebrate Stephen Harper's re-election, but we will celebrate because today is not tomorrow. Today is today, and today is May Day, and this is our day. The day of the people, when the people rose up to say no, not Stephen Harper, not Stephen Harper, not Stephen Harper. Instead, this is our day. Well, we will celebrate the people who came before us, who fought so hard for the rights of workers and people and children, for the strength of residential school survivors who stood up, whose very survival is an act of resistance, whose courage brings us all courage, and who are now standing up to fight with us. The strength of I Don't Know More, of Occupy, of all of us coming together, of the cherry blossom trees on the streets, of the ocean that lines around us today, and the people who are fighting to defend that which gives us life, to stop the Christy Clark government and her pro-pipeline, anti-worker agenda. Today, we celebrate, and those people who push further to stop other pipelines that are destroying our environment. Today we celebrate us, and it will take a long time to really achieve that dream of a change of an economic system that is green and just for all of us, and it will take risking arrest like the people who came before us. And we will say yes when that time comes. And we will organize until the May Day when we will celebrate the defeat of Stephen Harper. Thank you so much. As Joey mentioned, I'm working with shitharperdid.com right now. It's really fun, and right now we are trying to expose Stephen Harper's economic action plans and their lies, and to say that Stephen Harper's economy is not working for us, and to really shake that pillar of conservative power. And so we have a campaign. We're trying to get an ad on national television to reach 1 million people during an NHL hockey game to expose that. So I would invite you to join our community. We're also organizing actions to expose and oppose the Harper government's economic agenda. So we have a choice. We can wait until 2015 or we can start now. Will you sign up to be part of our mailing list to join the Shit Harper Did team? Will you sign up to be part of organizing actions? I'm gonna pass around a list and I really hope to see your names on the list. So to end, I'd love it if we could join in a chant to say Stop Harper. So when I say stop, you say Harper. Stop! Harper! Stop! Harper! Stop! Harper! Yeah!
I'll sign it. Where is she? I'll sign it. We should all sign that, okay? Wasn't that fabulous? You gotta admit, eh? That was fabulous, thank you. You know, we all come from somewhere, and, you know, Lillian actually didn't tell the truth when she was up here. She said I was her friend. That was only part of the truth. She was one of my mentors. Yeah. That's right. I learned some good things from Lillian because she dragged me across the province helping organize workers and Aboriginal communities to stand up for themselves and take back their land. And you know that struggle, yes, Lillian's still doing that today. We were both young then. I think I was a little younger. But you know, we stand here today at a moment in history. And around the world today, there are millions of people like us marching. Ordinary working people who are standing up for their right to dignity, respect, a safe job, and a decent paycheck and freedom. That is the battle that happened in 1890 when the Haymarket Massacre took place. Those workers are standing up for the 8-hour day, that same 8-hour day we're still fighting for today. They were put in jail and found guilty. And for years people fought that because they were innocent. And ultimately they were pardoned by a governor who was defeated in the next election. But that governor decided that justice had to be done and they were released. And that was a victory for working people. I want to say also, as we sit here today or stand here today, that our hearts are with the people of Bangladesh. With the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of workers who today, without unions, walked off their jobs to protest industrial murder. Because that's what happened in Bangladesh. That was industrial murder. And unlike what should happen in this province, at least the people who own the factories were put in handcuffs and put in jail where they belong today in Bangladesh. We must, as working people, remember that this is a small planet, that we exist on it together with hundreds of millions and billions of other working people, and that what happens to them is important to us, because when they fight and they win freedom, we win also. And when we win and we fight for freedom and win, they win also. And when they divide us, we all lose. So to the workers of Bangladesh, we are with you. We will go after Loblaws. We will go after those companies and make them pass that rules that people are fighting for. An international agreement that gives them the right to have a union, a safe workplace, and rules to live by that they can have important power with their employers. We will make them sign that or we won't be buying their clothes anymore. We must stand up. Lillian was right. It is a national disgrace for all of us at how working people and Aboriginal people have been treated, especially Aboriginal people who have been treated in this country. Our labour movement will never be what it can be unless we fight alongside Aboriginal people for their economic, social justice. And if we don't win that, then we can never be the country that we can be. We will never finish the job of our ancestors. I said we're at a moment because in 2 weeks we get to decide who's going to be the government in this province. And let's be very clear that changing that government won't solve all of our problems as working people. But let me be very clear also that if we don't change this government, then working people, Aboriginal people, poor people will continue to suffer and go backwards. We know the choice is clear. Christy Clark has to get fired, folks. She needs to go. And our job is making sure that we get out there and do our job. Hundreds, thousands and thousands of working people are knocking on doors tonight, making phone calls, talking to their neighbors, talking to union members. Why? Because democracy is our tool. It isn't perfect, but it's how workers can win major gains for ourselves and our families. And so we have to make democracy work in 2 weeks. We have to make it work by mobilizing working people so when the ballots are counted, there is a new government and working people made that decision. So let's pledge tonight to continue on with this struggle, not just next Tuesday, but every day of our lives for a better place, a better province, and a better world. Thank you for being here. Let's keep up the struggle.
You see them on picket lines, you see them at demonstrations, you see them at events like this where we gather together to celebrate. And they are a group that formed after the WTO battle in Seattle when the Vancouver District Labour Council leadership was so impressed by the Seattle Labour Choir that the decision was made we needed to have a Labour Choir here in Vancouver too. And so that was about 11 years ago, I guess, and Solidarity Notes Labour Choir has been together ever since, really providing a great boost to so many events. So they have passed out the words for the Internationale, and they have, I think, 2 short songs that they're going to do before that. So please welcome Solidarity Notes Labour Choir.
Thank you very much. I heard that during the march, the Carnival Band was playing Bella Ciao, which is a very famous partisan song from the 40s. We've taken that and done our own magical work with it.
Dashtands are waiting. They must take what is fair and take it now, now, now. Stephen Harper says we must move fast. Another pipeline is our cash cow. Right to our coastline. Through our rivers and mountains of pow, pow, pow. And this we cannot allow. They are relentless. They are relentless in their drive to make profits right now, now.